We got a 90, I believe, CRX Si-R, right-hand drive, straight from Japan. We're going to be doing the Pro T13 remote alarm setup with a couple of other goodies added onto it. Now we're going to go ahead and convert the door locks from manual to power. This does have power windows, so hopefully it doesn't interfere with the actuators. So I'm gonna quickly guide you to it. The door locks are kind of the pain on these vehicles, but the alarm itself is pretty easy. Plenty of diagrams online, plenty of install. I believe I did one quite a while back on the red one, which is also the same owner as this Si-R one. Other than that, let's go ahead and take apart the car and then start with the door panels. Here's the parts that I've used. Like I said, the door lock relay is the 451M, and I've used the high power door lock actuator wire from the install bay as well. This is a pretty good system. It's the 524N, as in Nancy. You're going to need 2 of those. It'll come with all the stuff that you need. Basically, you need 2 actuators and this relay, and you pretty much have everything situated for the door locks. So this one's a hard one since this is a Molex style plug. Obviously, you see a hole right there. That's where no wires are going through. So you got to be careful drilling a hole. Make sure you don't nick any of the wires. And then you go ahead and plug it back in and then kind of get a pilot hole. And then you're going to get the other side. I'm going to go ahead and clean all that since it's a mess. But yeah, this is the hardest part about the CRXs with the power windows. But got to do what you got to do. This is kind of how you're supposed to do it. You don't want to be drilling any holes. Just kind of, like I said, just make sure like you don't nick any of the wires. In this case, we are good and clear. So we're going to go ahead and run the wire there and put everything back. First part, pain in the ass part, is done. So you can see shooting through right there. So once we plug that in, it's going to mate up with it. Like I said, it's going to match the hole that I drilled on the male side, so everything would seat properly. And as you can see, no wires were damaged and things like that. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more before I put everything back. That way that grease is not everywhere. Went ahead and got the female side plugged back in, mounted. Now we went ahead and insert for the male side. So once we plug everything in, it'll line everything up, and then this side is done running the wires. Another pain in the butt process is to get it inside this grommet right here. So I went ahead and pretty much fished a zip tie right there. So it's already in there. Just got to pull it slowly, and hopefully it doesn't break off or pull out. Finally got one of the doors, ran all the way inside already. So you can see the grommets right there. I'm going to go put a zip tie just to kind of keep the power door lock harness secured to the original harness. That way it's not separated like that. But I already got the wire inside right here. I've got the driver's side done. I didn't hook up the actuators yet. I just ran the wire from the door to the inside, which took a long time. So we're moving on to the passenger side. Now the customer also stated that his power window stopped working. So I went ahead and just kind of popped the plug, just kind of hoping there's a wire that's unplugged. And just judging from that, this thing is super dirty. So I don't know if it's just like stopping the signal from coming in, but I will double check everything. But this thing definitely seen better days. For the passenger flat plug, this one's a little bit different. It's a little bit smaller than the driver's side since there's not a lot of wire going in. All I did was kind of trimmed out this corner right here. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger than the other side. That's where the wires are going to go run through. And then I'm going to poke a hole on the grommet just like the other one. And that's how I'm going to run the wire to this area right here. So this one's kind of not as hard as the driver's side, but it's definitely a little bit easier, so that's a good thing. So this one's not going to take very long to do. I still need to diag the power window afterwards, but for now I'm going to go ahead and take care of the power door locks. Here's the progress so far. We've got the wire secured to the original harness. I already have the wire going through the car. I went ahead and used the factory harness to zip tie everything, and you want the wire to come out just about right here. So you can see everything is zip tied along with it, that way it doesn't interfere with the glass. Now when it gets to this area right here, you can go ahead and put a split loom. Since there's not a harness that goes here, it's gonna have to go behind here, so you want something to protect it. And then we're gonna use a cable wire hanger, that way it can kind of hold in this area right here. Continuing on to the power door lock actuator install, I went ahead and mounted it just like this. As you can see, it clears this right here, so it doesn't really make contact, but you want it to be loose a little bit. So even if you, that's to open the door, and this is to control the door lock. So I'm gonna go ahead and test out the door panel just to make sure these screws clear. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and have to cut it. One of those things that's kind of the only way. But so far this thing is secure in here. I did use a 12-volt battery to test it out just to make sure everything works. Kind of hard to do it with just one hand. And if you switch it over, just like that. I did test everything out with the door panel on, and everything clears. As you can see, nothing's binding, but you'll be able to tell if it is binding. Obviously it won't move around like freely, so we're gonna go ahead and clean everything up and then put the door panel back together and continue running that wire all the way inside. Here's the completed passenger side. Everything's secured. I already tested with the door panel. Nothing's hitting, everything's secured. You want to leave this a little bit loose like this, that way it's not getting so tight behind the dash. You want it to freely move and contour to the door panel's like kind of location in the back, since you won't be able to see it. But overall this one's pretty much done, so I'm going to go ahead and put the door panel back and then run that all the way to the other side. We're moving on to the driver's side, so we're going to go ahead and do the same exact process as with the passenger. This is just a very time consuming process, so if you're not prepared for the patience that's involved with this one, I would say pay somebody. To me, I have to have the patience since I am getting paid for it, but passenger side is pretty much self-explanatory, so the driver's side is going to be the same exact thing. Finally, the driver's side is done. Like I said, same exact setup. I'm going to test it out real quick with a 12 volt. That's the lock. I'm not going to switch it around. Same way, switch the polarity and it'll do the lock and unlock. For the relay, a lot of people would use the standard STDPT relays, 5-prong, which is totally fine. It's just a little bit more involved and bulky. But what I use is a DEI 451M. This is actually way smaller and one of the best door lock relays that I've been using for years. So here is the guide that you're going to be using. Like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory. One small box right here, and then you're going to have 3 small wires for the lock trigger, unlock, and 12 volt. And then here is the diagram for the actuator. I've never really had any problem with these. I've had some of these relays installed probably 10 plus years and I never had any problem with them. So you can use the you can use a standard 5-prong relay, or you can use one of these 451M. You can also use it in so many different things, but here's the actuator diagram. So this one's pretty easy. But other than that, I also did the alarm, which it's also self-explanatory. I did the CompuStar T12. Like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you need the wiring diagram, I can post that link and see if you got any wires for it. The right-hand drive is similar to the left-hand drive, but I did have to test everything. There is a slight variation, so I would suggest test everything before you even go any further. Other than that, this install is pretty much done. I'm just waiting on the customer to let me know if he wants to replace the speaker, because the one that came out from Japan is this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put back the door panel, square everything back, put the bottom door panel or the bottom dash piece, and then put everything back the way it was. Just wanted to test it out real quick. Doors are closed. That's locked. And that's unlocked. So that pretty much concludes the install. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Please subscribe. Other than that, see you on the flip side. I forgot to add in here that I did diag the passenger side window. So everything works now. There was a broken wire to the inside portion of the harness that's going to the door. That was the power signal. So soldered it back up and everything is good.